Roran trudged up the hill. Book 2, Eldest. Chapter 5, Roran. And Chapter 6, The Hunted Hunters. Welcome to Aragon and Back Again, a podcast where we explore Christopher Pauline's inheritance cycle, chapter by chapter. I'm Darien Smartt.
And I'm Lucy Hart.
And Lucy, we have a new POV.
Maybe we should be calling it Rowan and Back Again.
That doesn't work
That
with the word
doesn't do a thing.
Hey, listeners, do y'all get our title? Like, do you...
Just like, hold on, wait a minute. Do y'all get it?
Do y'all get it? There's intent. I'm not gonna explain it, but it just occurred to me. Do y'all get it? Like, there are layers. It's okay if you don't.
We were really happy about it. We thought about it and we were like, "Ooh, yes."
It just occurred to me that, like, oh, maybe it's like, why is it called that? Doesn't matter. I just like the show, and I'm like, that's also fair.
That's also fair.
It's okay if you don't. This is not me it's not a test on you.
It's not a test.
It's more a test on us.
You all get A+++ in my
all
book.
get A++++s because you listen.
Yes.
But let's focus on here in the moment, not the title, but the chapters.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, hey, Lucy.
Yes.
Do you have a spark of inspiration?
Yes.
Yeah, what is it?
It's Go Luck Yourself.
Oh, what's that?
I was trying to make it sound as insulting as possible because it's not.
No, it's so good.
It is a book that came out early March.
Mm-hmm.
It is a sequel of the books we read for my book club, Nightmare Before Christmas. I almost forgot it.
By Sara
Raach.
Raach.
Yeah.
Raasch.
Yeah.
I haven't actually heard it pronounced out loud, but yes.
Yes, and it's very good. Love her writing. Love her storytelling. It's very good. And my inspiration comes from one of the main characters, Chris.
Interesting. I wonder what it could be.
He is a writer.
He is a writer.
And I read these books before. I think I mentioned it too. It's like the Chosen One saga by Nora Roberts. Where I honestly feel like I've talked about it before. She's the woman that finds out that her father's been giving her this inheritance, and she goes to Ireland and does this, and she becomes a writer. And I get so inspired.
In spiders?
Inspired.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. I get so inspired. I said it again. I was trying so hard. I get so inspired. There we go. When I read fictional characters' inspiration of writing and start writing. And I don't know what it is, but I'm always like, I want to write now, or I want to do this, or I want to create this. So that was something that I think that also helped me just start writing again.
Yeah.
After the whole seasonal depression thing. Yay.
It be that way.
Right. So that was, and I also really enjoyed the book a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I think I messaged the group chat, I've never had a book like make me sob cry before, but I did.
That was,
at the end of it.
No.
I was like, oh my God. But no, really liked it, really enjoyed it. Very nice. Got me writing again. So
yeah.
And if anyone wants to read it, I highly recommend.
Go Luck Yourself is also my spark of inspiration, because it'd be weird if it wasn't mine for this episode, but it would be, because it's definitely on my list, so I'm just gonna do it at the same time Lucy does hers. But yeah, no, if you recall when we talked about Christmas, a lot of the comments I had for Christmas applies to Go Luck Yourself, wherein the book itself at surface level feels like something very cupcake, silly, spicy, just like fun holiday romance smut. And it is that. It is fun. It is a playful universe. It is magical. It is smutty. Like, that is what it is. But it is also a really genuine and complex character examination of people who are hurt because of the way the family members in their lives who should have taken care of them have hurt them, and also made them feel as if they deserve the hurt they carry.
Yep.
And that was a specific new element in Go Luck Yourself, because it doesn't feel like a retread of Christmas at all, and that's what I really liked about it. It was so exceptionally different, even though we still have, like, here are two holiday princes and they're gonna fall in love. Yeah. And that's the same as the first one. But that's where the similarities end, because these characters are so different, the romantic interest is so different, the nature of these characters' relationships to each other are so different. And even we have, like, the two brothers the first book, Cole was our main character, the older brother, and in this book it's the younger brother. We still see their loving brother relationship, but seeing it from Chris's perspective and how it's the same relationship is different from a different person's point of view is lovely. And also not that like, oh, actually it's not a good relationship. It's not that kind of different point of view. It's still a loving, supportive brother relationship, but we just see what it's like for Chris and what that relationship has been like for him and how it's supported him and how he's supported Cole and the idea of the nature of your hurt has turned. And then when you find yourself in a situation where those who you've been caring for have healed to the point where they don't need you anymore, what does that do to your state of identity? And how do you reclaim your own identity by recovering from the hurt you've experienced, or by just starting to take steps to decide you want to recover from that hurt? It's lovely. It's a mystery, and I really was into the mystery element of like, who's stealing the Christmas magic. And again, I just said that word to you. I just said that sentence, and it's like, wait, well, you just talked about grief and healing and self-acceptance. Did you just say the words "who's stealing the Christmas magic"? I did, and the stakes are high. Gang. I was like, oh, it could be this character. Oh, it could be this character. Oh no, I hope it's not this character. Oh, maybe it's this character. Like, and seeing that mystery element play out was genuinely really fun. And yes, they fuck. Because it's also that kind of book. So that's my big caveat, is if you don't like explicit smutty books, because here's the thing, this one was a sequel. And you know what, a sequel, sometimes we gotta double down.
She doubled down.
Roach doubled down in a lot of ways. So that's the big thing. It's like, if you don't like those kind of narratives, that's totally cool. This is not a book for you then, and that's okay. But if you're someone, and also simultaneously, if you're someone who's like, you like a smutty book because you're just like, I'm just kind of here for the smut, I don't really want a lot of other stuff, I just wanted them to get to the point, this also might not be the kind of book for you, because it's not that, and that is also okay. We approach genres for very specific reasons. If you like both those things, or you think by the descriptions we've delivered, like, I think I might enjoy that, like, absolutely, just be aware. Again, it's very, like, it's not closed door. So, don't want to, like, jump scare anybody. That's not what we're about here. Definitely for adults only. Like, absolutely. Our podcast is labeled explicit. I know we have some younger listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't read this book. And I'm someone who's, like, very much like, no, I think, hold on, this episode cannot be about my stance on whether or not there should be certain themes in certain books for certain audiences. I'm like, yes, but closed door, camera pans away type stuff. This is not that, because it's for grown-ups. So, like, those are all of our caveats. But I agree. The character analysis and spinning space with these characters and realizing, I think, what Kissmas and Go Luck Yourself, it's Royals and Romance is the name of the series. How Raach goes beyond the surface level genre expectations of what her novels really sit with characters and their hurts and their hopes. I like a lot, and it's something I've been working as I've been retooling my draft to be more mindful of. Not just what the characters are doing right in the moment, but how their past things should be consistently influencing the way they respond to external events. If that's something that sounds fun, again, we would highly recommend, and we'd love to hear what other people think of them.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of being in new characters' heads.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh, Roran! Buddy, hey! Welcome back to the series!
So good.
Hopefully going forward, I will consistently call him Roran and not Rowan. Now that I'm going to see his name more often.
I don't know. I might bounce between the two a lot, but we mean this dude, Aragon's cousin.
We know. Okay. Let me read the chapter synopsis for these two, and we'll just, like, go into both.
Go ahead.
Roran. Across Allegasia, far from the Varden, Roran has returned to Carvajal, trying to pick up the pieces of his life after the death of his father, the destruction of his farm, and the disappearance of his cousin. Amidst his grief, Roran also struggles to figure out how he continued to court Katrina in good faith when he has lost everything he could have once offered her. The hunters hunted. While on a hunting trip, Roran and Balder are discussing options for Roran's future with Katrina when they discover a group of Galbatorix's soldiers in the woods accompanied by the Raach. Roran, overcome by rage, nearly attacks them on his own, but thinking of Katrina, returns to Carvajal. Fearing the worst, Roran's allies encourage him to hide in the woods until they learn more. Soon, it becomes apparent that they are here to apprehend Roran on Galbatorix's orders.
Dun dun.
I've talked about this like in the start of this book where I'm like, hey, I really remember what it felt like to read this first chapter, the opening chapter the first time. I also really remember what it was like to turn the page and suddenly see the chapter Roran, and then we are in Roran's perspective. Yep. And I'm like, oh, we're like for the first time in Aragon was just Aragon.
Yep.
We were only with Aragon.
Yep.
We start out Eldest with like 4 chapters that are just Aragon, and then hey, I'm going to jump back to literally across the continent.
Yep.
And also to Roran.
Yep.
You remember his cousin, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess so.
Yeah. For me, it was really much like a whoa kind of thing when I first read this. It was something I was not expecting. And I think like I'm super excited. Like, I'll be really upfront. I'm super excited to talk about the switching perspective stuff.
I know, I love it.
Like, absolutely. This was the first time I read a book that switched perspectives like this. And it was,
so too.
It was really cool and new to me. And I don't think I liked it at first, honestly. I feel like I was like, I'm like, oh, this is okay, but like, I want to go back to Aragon.
Yeah.
But then it was like, as the book progressed, I was so eager for both.
Yeah.
And so.
I think early on, especially because it's like, we go back to Roran and it's like, oh, it suddenly feels like we're back at the beginning of Aragon where we know there's this big magical adventurous world we're supposed to be a part of.
Yeah.
And we're in this small mountain village where the characters only care about, farming and, the social norms for their life. And I think I agree. I was initially like, oh, wow, like surprised to learn a book could do that. Because I bet I read, because I read the Mary-Kate and Ashley novels, kids' books growing up.
Yeah.
And those books would go back and forth between their point of view. So I'd encountered that as like a narrative device before.
Yeah.
But I think this was definitely the first time I encountered it as not so structured.
Yeah.
Like it didn't immediately, the first book wasn't like this.
Yeah.
This doesn't it's not a steady like back and forth.
Yeah.
It's as is woven through. Like
Yeah.
it could be used more freeform.
Yeah.
It was very cool. But I definitely agree with you. Early on, I found it annoying and boring. Like, why do I care about this? Like, he just wants to be a farmer and marry his girlfriend. That's fine for him. But like, I want to go back to dragon adventures and like trading with the elves.
Yeah, because a lot of it. Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
Go on. I was just gonna add, like, even in this first chapter, like really just hitting that point of now we're back to like the freaking square one is when Roran runs across the trapper and the trapper's just saying like, oh, like normal day things, stuff like this, and then like, oh, what's more is like there's been tales of a new writer, and everyone laughs, and it's kind of like. But yeah, no, like.
But we know. But I bet every 10 years there's someone who's like, I heard tale of a new writer.
Absolutely.
Like I bet this is a common occurrence.
Yeah, but it's like, and I guess that's like the one thing that's like, I don't know, gratifying is that we know that there is a writer, and that writer is Aragon, and that's the reason why Aragon left. Like we know all of these things, but Rowan doesn't.
Yeah,
and it really feels like the beginning of Aragon, where we know that Arya sent off the stone, and we know that it's like magical and stuff like this, but he doesn't. And so it's like we're very aware of this like magical world and like the dangers it has and all these things, and we know that the strangers that came were the Raach, these very dangerous things that killed Brom, and all these things. And now we're like back over here, and Roran. I'm gonna mess up a lot, gang.
Yeah. No, for real.
But he knows nothing. But it's also interesting because he says that at the beginning when he's contemplating life, he says like it felt as though there were bands around his mind, and that now it expanded, and he has to consider things he's never considered before, like maybe not becoming a farmer. But it's like even in his having to try to think outside of what he thought his life would be, he still doesn't know what we know to be true. Yeah. So it's a really interesting prospect. I also just love Rowan as a character.
I also just love Roran as a character. Yeah. And I also, in terms of initially when I was younger being bored by the Roran chapters.
Yeah.
Because I didn't recognize what it was. Like, I think that is, from being younger and not realizing what Paolini was doing, which is making a specific pointed effort to demonstrate that the world continues. Outside of the rebellion.
Absolutely.
People's lives are still going on and still being impacted by the Empire outside of the magic and the battles and the dragons and the elves and the dwarves and the training and everything else, and all these people who are actively trying to ignite change.
Yeah.
While they're doing that, other people's lives are still being impacted for better or for worse through their actions, but also through the actions of a corrupt empire, right? Like, for a long time, Carvajal has enjoyed peace and
safety, more or less.
Sustainability.
Yeah, because they're basically ignored. They're basically They're like a small village, ignored. Like way out of the way,
and they don't receive support from the Empire when they need it. But nor do they have to deal with the slavers showing up. Like, they are so far and forgotten that they they still face hard times. They don't have like the social systems that they should have access to, being a part of a seemingly very powerful empire.
Yeah.
But at the very least, they don't have the negative forces harming them because they are still benefiting of being part of a stable empire.
Yep.
But Aragon suddenly gets the egg.
Yep.
And suddenly the Empire comes knocking. Suddenly it's paying attention to him. And that does result in the farm being destroyed, Garo dying, Brom and Aragon just disappearing. And that's like kind of shocking for this place, that the most interesting thing that's happened in the last 15 years was that one village girl rolling back up and she's pregnant and unmarried. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so even though that stuff is gone, like now that Aragon is gone, Brom is gone, like all of that has supposed to be like happen, and Roran is like pissed.
Yes.
He knows it's Aragon's fault because Aragon brought the egg. He doesn't necessarily blame Aragon for Garo's death. He just recognizes that led
the events.
To it.
It's like he blames Aragon, but it's not malicious. It's factual. It's like, this
happened because of this.
Yeah, because of like the choices that were made, that Aragon took the egg back to the village. Like, I feel like if he did leave the stone where it was, I don't even know if they would have like conned the, like the
shade would have found
the
pretty
if
easily.
They came and found it. Like, I
bet they had ways to track,
probably something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like they might have come and occupied Carvajal while they found it, but then when they found it, they would have left.
Yeah, they would have no reason to stay.
I don't know if they would have had like literally any reason. So
and then they wouldn't have had any reason to come back.
Yep.
Which is what this is that even though Aragon and Saphira are thousands and thousands of miles away, they're literally on the other side of the continent. They're doing, but they still have ties to Carvajal.
Yep.
And so now the step is like, if Galbatorix can't get them, then he is going to try to make them come to him. And so we know that's why they're after Roran.
Yep.
Like, we understand that they're after Roran because Galbatorix is trying to get Aragon.
Yep.
But they don't know that.
Nope.
I also, another thing I found really interesting about Roran as a character is that even as he's like blames Aragon for Garo's death, he's not angry at him for that. He's like, oh, his wretched curiosity, if only he'd left well enough alone. But the thing he's actually angry at Aragon for is leaving before Garo was buried.
Yes.
And that is what he's upset. And he also like kind of blames Brom for that, because he also like doesn't think of Aragon as someone who would just do that.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, what the hell did Brom feed him to make him do this?
But the old man is crazy.
Yeah,
is
like
the line that I like.
His cryptic ass letter.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Someone's gonna
his
read
vague
this to
hints.
me.
Yep.
But the thing with Roran is that Aragon failing to uphold a social norm.
Yeah.
Not the egg. Not that what it resulted in because of Aragon's own inherent curiosity, but that Aragon leaving before Garo was born upends a social norm.
Yeah.
And that is actually what these Roran chapters are about initially, is how this young man whose life was set before him, he went to take an internship, basically, so he could come back with money, start a farm, get married, have kids, do the thing that his father did and his father did. And he gets to live in the comfort of expectation, knowing what his life has always been, because he adheres and believes in the importance of these social norms and societal expectations. and an outside force is going to take that away from him.
Yep.
And so this chapter of him looking at the farm, dealing with that grief, he hasn't been back since.
Yep.
But also it's shifting into he still wants to marry Katrina.
Yes.
And she's only going to wait for so long.
Yeah.
Because of these social norms. Like because she talks to him later when she goes to comfort him, like her father Sloan is going to start pressuring her to pick other suitors, especially and she tells him if no one else has
stepped forward.
And Roran is like, I can't do that. I have nothing to offer you.
Yeah.
Your father will say no, and I'll lose my chance to be with you if I have nothing to persuade your father with. But Katrina, simultaneously, she also is expected to follow social norms, and she wants to marry Rowan, and she wants him to fight for her.
Yeah,
and if he won't, she won't be able to wait for him.
I like her line. There's no reason we should waste our years living apart when we feel like this, and I do like that. But it's I think where my thing was I kept going back and forth between this argument because I'm like, part of me is like, I don't like it, but I also am like, but I like it, and I totally understand both sides because Rowan's coming from like, I am living at someone else's house. I do not have a roof over my head. I have nothing to sustain. I have nothing to like sell. I can't make a living.
I have no guarantee I can take care of you as a husband is supposed to take care of his wife and his children in this world.
Yep. And then Katrina is also like, my dad is going to like basically like, I was going to say sell off, and it's not necessarily that, but it kind of is.
I don't know. Not
it's
necessarily.
Like there's a word there. I can't think of it.
He's going to
give her away.
No, because I think the thing we've established about Sloan is that he loves Katrina.
Yes,
he would
fully.
never.
He would never
the king could show up and offer him gold, and he would not marry off Katrina if she didn't
true.
Want to
yes,
go. Like,
Sloan.
I think that's what it is. Like Sloan for his flaws.
Yes,
and he has many.
Yes,
when it comes to Katrina, he will do what he believes is best for his daughter, but that does not extend to sending her away into an unhappy, unwanted situation.
Yes.
So like, sorry, do you want to?
No, yeah, I was gonna say what he wants what he wants is the best for his daughter, even if that means like if somebody from like a very rich like someone who's like, oh, I can provide for you, I can do all these things. I feel like he'll
encourage her to go with them rather than wait for Roran
who can't offer anything
and also hasn't stepped up.
Yes,
that's another thing she says.
Yeah, because then that's the thing too. Laura, I was actually really surprised. Sorry, I'm like totally interrupting.
Go on.
I was really surprised that I'm like, he hasn't even talked to Sloan about this at all, and I'm like, but we get the impression that they've like been together.
They've been courting
for a while, and I'm like, I feel like you should have. I feel like that's a point. It's like you should have said like. Started like talking to the father, especially like they're kissing, and I feel
I think here's what I think. I think they're a little bit outside of the social norm with how intensely in love they are already.
Yeah,
like I think they started courting, and you don't necessarily have to approach the father because I think approaching Sloan communicates an intent to, I want to marry your daughter. I'm ready to do that.
Yes.
And she wants to marry me.
Yeah.
So like the courting phase is them deciding whether that's something they want to do.
Okay, yeah.
And so Roran, that's why he left to work at the mill.
Yeah.
So he could get money. So then he could come home. So he could build his house.
Yes.
So then he could have a home that he could bring Katrina to.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was his plan. He wants to be like, I think so that was his idea. And then I think the reason he hasn't talked to Sloan yet is because he doesn't want Sloan to have any reason to say no. And he could say no. It's like, you don't have a home to take my daughter to. Well, that's why he went to go get more money to build the house. And so once he has a house and he's a farmer, so he's guaranteed like, this is my life. I'll have income.
Yep.
And so that's what he's waiting on, is being able to Sloan could not have any reasonable reason to say no, except for his personal thing where he just doesn't really like Roran.
Yeah, or like that whole family. Yeah.
And I think it's because he's just a snob, honestly.
He's a snob, grouchy old man.
We talked about this. Like, he's elitist a little bit. He doesn't like Aragon because, Aragon's mom.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. So, like, that's his deal. We know that. But if his daughter loves Roran, and if Roran demonstrates that he is able to care for her, Sloan really doesn't have any reason to say no.
And I was just going to say, like, because we're kind of merging these two chapters, in the next chapters, Rowan asks Baldur for help, And Balder gives him the best advice, I think, which is kind of what we're leading up to, is he approaches Sloane about the proposal and saying, like, I can promise you all of this. And if Sloane turns him down, the village is going to be like, you're just being a jackass at this point. Like, we all know the position Roran is in right now. Like, obviously these two people are very much in love. Rowan and Rowan is a good person. He's not going to let Katrina go for naught.
Yeah, like he will not marry her until he is actually in a position to care for her. But what Rowan will be asking is, like, please do not pressure her into choosing someone else just because I cannot take care of her right now, but I will do everything to get to that point, because that's what Katrina says. Like, I love you, Roran, and I want to be with you, but father has other plans for me. There are far more eligible men than you, and the longer you delay, the more he presses me to consent to a match which he approves. He fear I will become an old maid, and I fear that too. I only have so much time or choice in Carvajal. If I must take another, I will. And then she waits, like, she's starting to cry. She waits for him to respond. When he doesn't, she heads back to the house. And I think it is a bummer to see that this is the world that this young woman lives in, where she can't just be like, I love this guy and I'm gonna build a house with him. I'm gonna do what I want to be with him, because she can't. And the reason she fears being an old maid is because in this world, women are not able to support themselves. They cannot. It's like, why did women stay in bad marriages in the 1950s? Because they literally couldn't have a bank account. Why did divorce skyrocket in the 80s? Because suddenly women could have a credit card and a home loan without a man. Like, women, the fear of being an old maid isn't this, like, vanity or like, I'll be all alone, tragic heartbreak. It is a genuine fear that if she does not have a partner and her father dies and she's an old maid, she will literally not be cared for in her old age and will suffer because the economic systems are stacked against women. And so while she loves Roran and she wants to be with him, if he is going to leave her in the lurch and not, like, enable or demonstrate to her that he is going to marry her no matter what, then she's going to have to pick someone else, because she needs to for security in this world. And I don't think that's a bad thing for the character. Nor do I think that's a bad thing for Paolini to write, because that is the world of this, like, old-time English, like, medieval aesthetic that we're in. And it tracks perfectly. And I think
it's very realistic. Like, it's very, like, we're pulled into the world and we're like, yes, that's believable.
And it's done without Katrina seeming like she's being unreasonable. Because she's not. She's just, because Roran is also, when I mentioned earlier him being up against the social norm, he's also, like, that is feeding into his own pride. Like, he wants to go to Sloane with his head held high and be able to be like, I will be this great man and you have to look at me with respect because I have done these XYZ social, like, status things. And Katrina is asking him to put his pride aside and just make sure they will get to be together. And so that's where Roran is at. We are getting a character who is going to have to deal with the impact of the Empire and the impact of people fighting against this Empire, and how even that fight is still going to harm the individual people because the Empire is so corrupt, and how just trying to live your life does not mean you will be untouched by a corrupt system. And spoiler-free podcast, but, like, demonstrating the only way to continue to get to live your life is to fight for it. And so, going into, like you said, we're already, like, bleeding into the next chapter, but I want to just appreciate how Paolini writes Katrina here, where I don't think she's coming off as, like I said, she's not unreasonable, she's not impatient, she's not manipulative, she's forthright and honest, and she's asking Rowan to be the same with her father. So.
I do. Like, I think, like, I think, like, because I mentioned, like, I didn't like that scene a little bit, and I think it could be like, oh, these characters are supposed to be in love, but they have a conflict here. But I think Paolini does that a really good job. It's like, just because they had an argument about, like, you know, where each of them stand, and I think both of them, again, have, like, it totally makes sense, and I feel like they do have ground to stand on with both of their perspectives. It's that they still love each other despite this disagreement. And the interaction started with Katrina comforting him because she knows he had just come back from the farm. Absolutely. And I'm just a person that doesn't like conflict. So that might be my discomfort in that scene, but I think Paolini does just a beautiful job with it. Getting both both perspectives say.
Yeah. And so and we're in this next chapter where he is hunting with Baldur.
Yep.
And they have that conversation. I like the back and forth and Baldur being like, because one thing Roran is like, well, we could just announce we're engaged, and like Sloane can't do anything about that, but that could create a blood feud and tear her away from her family and divide the village. And then again, it's like stepping out and being in this world that we are in. Like that seems crazy. Just marry each other. Like who cares? This is ridiculous. But like, and if the rest of the village is gonna be mad at you for it, like that's so goofy. Why is that?
Yeah,
like, because that is the world.
And, that is this world,
and it is ridiculous. It is such a silly thing when we've just been like this chapter open with like the aftermath of this traumatic battle and the leader of the Varden and our best friend Murtagh dying. Yeah, like seems like. This idea of whether or not Roran will be able to marry his girlfriend seems so silly and trivial.
Yeah.
But it is the biggest problem in the world for them.
Absolutely.
And for that reason, it should be no less valued by the reader, because shouldn't it be the biggest problem they have to deal with? Like, why? That's the point. Like, the biggest problem these people should have to deal with shouldn't be death and violence and these kind of like horrible loss. It should be, oh, damn, I want to marry my girlfriend, but I don't know if her dad will let me. Like, in this world, the way it is, that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for people to be allowed to have these pretty low-level stakes in their lives that they will be able to navigate with time and patience.
Yep.
Not the threat of the Empire.
Yes.
Like, that's what these chapters are supposed to remind us. That, yes, it seems silly in comparison, but really that's what we should be cheering for.
Yeah, is fighting the big fight for normal everyday kerfuffles like this.
And I love that. Can I read this thing I highlighted?
Yeah.
It was just really funny when he's talking about like, okay, well, don't just announce your engagement, that won't work. But like Baldur being like, well, yeah, like go up, just win him over, you might succeed, let him know like you are gonna work, you will do this, like we all know that. There's a chance you might succeed after all if it's made clear to him that no one else will want to marry an angry Katrina, especially when you're around to cuckold the husband. and that made me laugh. That was so funny.
Yep.
And it's like, listen, Sloane, for real. There might be other suitors, but like we all know she wants to marry Katrina. So what guy is going to want to roll up and marry her when she's kind of upset about the match? And also Roran is still around.
Yeah.
And we're all just the whole village is going to be like, I don't think, like Roran's too honorable. He's not going to sleep with a married woman. But we all know what and we're all side-eyeing the husband.
Side-eyeing the husband.
And that's so funny because it's so petty. It's so petty. It's simple, but this is a little village politics. It's really what they should be allowed.
Yep.
And I also like, if you fail, then you can proceed with confidence, knowing you've exhausted all other routes. And the people will be less likely to spit upon you for breaking tradition, and more likely say Sloane's bullheaded ways brought it upon himself. And I like that too. It's like, there is social norms and customs that the villagers will expect each other to uphold, because that communicates an adherence to social norms is valued in society, because it often is a way other members of the society demonstrate an adherence to safety. Like the reason some people feel threatened when someone goes outside of a perceived social norm is because they view it as dismantling of the safety and security of expectation and quote normalcy.
Yep.
That is not a good reason to be a bigot.
Yeah.
But in this just tastes talking about the marriage traditions of Carvajal. Like, that is why Roran is so worried about it. But also acknowledging that even though that is important to the village, if Sloane is gonna be difficult about it, if he will be unreasonable when Roran has been put in an unreasonable situation, then they're not gonna be dismissive of Roran for having to break the rules if he tried to do everything right.
Yep.
So I also like that, because I also think it makes Carvajal feel like
I know what you're
not so backward.
Yes.
Like, even though we getting to read this in 2025 as adults living in like modern United States, like, it's wild that this has to be this way and this is the way things are.
Yeah.
But that is the way things are. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the villagers will outcast Roran and Katrina for going against that if the problem isn't them but Sloane.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, it makes me feel a lot more affection for Carvajal than I necessarily had when I was in Aragon's head.
Yes.
Because Aragon really didn't interact with the other villagers
Not
as
very much.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's what it is. Like, Roran has so many friends and connections to
Yeah,
Carvajal.
he really does.
In a way, it runs deeper than what Aragon had.
Yeah. I want to say like the beginning of they're going hunting, and while they're walking around chasing down these deer, I like when Roran asks for advice, because he asks it, "Could I have your advice, Baldur? You seem to have a good understanding of people." And I don't know why I like that. And it's not just like, you know women well. Like,
it's not women, it's people.
It's people. And I don't know why, like, I like that so much, because they're two bachelors going on a hunting trip.
Yeah.
And they're not just like, let's talk about women. But Rowan's like in this very sincere place, not just like asking about Katrina, but Sloane specifically.
Yeah, and then
like
the village.
and the village at large. And I like that he takes what Baldur says like at heart. He's he's like, no, that's really good points. It's not gonna be easy. Well, you knew that going into it.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really nice.
Yeah, and I think that communicates something about Roran where he is aware, especially like tying back to like he's like, it felt like a restraint on his mind had been expanded.
Yeah.
Like, he really has thought about things a certain way. He was not like Gara, where he had like expectations of his life and didn't really think about broadening past that. And he is self-reflective enough to know that not empathetic. I don't think that's what it is. But the idea that like Baldur has a way with people, because Baldur lives, his father is a blacksmith. They live directly in the village. He probably has grown up interacting and directing with people way more, and the different personality types more consistently than Roran has. And I think that's where it comes from. But also like Roran being the kind of character who is willing to ask for help because he recognizes that this other man has a skill set he simply does not possess.
Absolutely.
Makes Roran like a really likable character.
Really likable character. Yep. And it's like, again, like we're getting to know Roran, whereas before we were spending so much time in Aragon's head, all we had was Aragon's perspective of Roran and what he was doing around Aragon. Now we're getting into Roran's head, and we're like, no, this is like, we knew he was an okay guy before, but no, this guy is genuinely
so
a
upstanding.
good. Yes, he's a genuinely good dude.
And then so he's getting to have this conversation with Baldur.
Yeah.
And he like thanks him for being able to talk and says, "I'm glad we could talk. He faltered, thinking of all the discussions he and Aragon used to share. They had been, as Aragon once said, brothers in all but blood. It had been deeply comforting to know that someone existed who would listen to him, no matter the time or circumstance, and to know that a person would always help him, no matter the cost. The absence of such a bond left Roran feeling empty." The loss of Aragon, I like, as a reader, getting to see how that feels like to Roran.
Yes.
Because I feel like Aragon would say the same.
Yeah.
But has not felt that in our time with him because of everything he's been through. Because, unlike Roran, Aragon is never alone anymore.
Yep.
With Saphira, Roran lost his home, his father, his cousin.
Yep.
And Aragon lost all those things too. Like, Gara was his father, essentially, his uncle, but his father and his home and his cousin, right?
Yep.
All gone, all separated. But in that loss, now he's with Brom. He's learning all these new things. He's kept his mind occupied. He's constantly on the run.
Yep.
He's constantly like his nervous system is constantly on alert. Like, we've literally, the few times when he's been able to rest and comfort, we have remarked on, because this boy, this poor young man has not had any of that.
None.
So, but he also, with Saphira, is never alone.
Yep.
Has never experienced the profound sense of loneliness or homesickness.
Yep.
And so it is almost so deeply sad to see Roran reflecting on, I miss Aragon so much because I've lost this bond.
Yeah.
And to know that while Aragon certainly misses Roran, of course he does. He's fearful for his safety. He loves him. He's checked on him when he was scrying at one time. But has never had that moment of like, I have lost the one person in the world that I could always talk to.
Yep.
Because maybe, as Roran just said, Baldur is good with people. Aragon is good with people too. He's very comfortable talking.
Yes.
And so Aragon maybe doesn't feel that same way, where he misses the bond and the comfort of his cousin who he grew up with like a brother.
Yep.
Aragon is always able to talk to people, and Roran really doesn't have that.
Yep.
And so that loss is more profound for Roran in that specific instance.
I also think there's a difference between the two as well, whereas Aragon, like, like lack of knowledge, he's like, okay, Rowan and Carvajal are safe.
Yes.
They are back. They're safe. Like, there are dangers and stuff like that. And he worries, like, if the Empire figures out my connection, like, that might cause problems. But for him, he's like, they are safe.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Rowan, it remarks in his, like, first chapter, he doesn't even know if Aragon's still alive or not.
Yeah.
And so that's, for him, that loss might be more deeply ingrained than for Aragon.
Yeah,
whereas
that's also
Aragon's
true.
like, no, it's fine. Like, he's fine.
Mhm.
Carvajal will never change. It's fine because it's never changed before. Why should it change now?
Yeah.
And so,
speaking of
so
things not
that-
being safe.
yeah, and then that's a big thing. Whereas again, like, Aragon is thinking, oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, and in reality,
It's
is
not
not fine in
fine.
any way, shape, or form because the Raach are back.
They're back now with a whole like group
Armed
of soldiers.
Yep. And that's like the big thing is like, I want to read the description. The men were mud splattered and travel stained, but Galbatorix's symbol was
Mhm.
still visible on their red tunics, a twisting flame outlined in gold thread. Underneath the tunics, they wore leather. Oh God.
Brigandines?
Brigandines, heavy with riveted squares of steel, mail shirts, and then padded gambesons. Gambesons, whatever.
Yeah.
Y'all get me. But like, yeah, so it's like, I love that the soldiers are so recognizable
Mhm.
with not just like Galbatorix's symbol, but the red tunics.
Yep, they're
And it's-
armed and yeah.
Yep, they're armed, and in the midst of them, and hunched in their midst
Mhm.
were two twisted black forms that Rowan recognized from the numerous descriptions of the villagers provided upon his return.
And I love, can I add the next
Yeah,
part?
no, go right ahead.
His blood chilled. They're servants of the Empire. And we knew.
Yeah.
We've known for a long time that the Raach were working for Galbatorix,
Yep.
right? Carvajal and Roran didn't know
Yep.
that. They were just some strangers who showed up, burned the farm, and killed Garo. Like, he didn't know that they worked for the Empire. And this,
Yep.
so now it like recontextualizes Roran's loss
Yep.
because it was like state sanctioned. And he thinks even more like what do they want? What can they want? The
Yeah.
king, why did Galbatorix countenance my father's torture?
Yep. I want to put a pin in that. How does a farmer know the word countenance?
Okay, that's great. Because I actually was going to say, I'm not entirely sure I know the word countenance. I really don't think I could use it in a sentence beyond
Yeah.
the one I just read.
Yeah, I was just like, huh. Good word use.
Great SAT word.
Yeah.
So, Lucy, do you know what the word countenance is?
I'm gonna say, I don't know fully, but I'm gonna say it's like the approval of, or like the go ahead, or just
Yeah.
blatantly like not really caring about it.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
So from Googling it, it's from the Oxford Languages Dictionary. When used as a noun, it can mean a person's face or facial expression or support.
Yep.
So it's essentially, why did Galbatorix support
My father's
my
church.
father's torture? Which, like, again, as you said, countenance, great word. Feels more of a Paolini word than a Roran word.
Yeah, feels
Like-
more honestly like a Brahm word.
More of
than-
a Brahm word. It's a great word.
It's a great
But
word.
it does definitely feel a little bit like, I don't know.
How would a
Roran-
farmer?
Yeah, not a
And
knock to
not-
farmers, but Roran
yeah.
specifically.
Yeah,
like
'cause
it
I'm
just
like-
seems like
I mean, we just talked about how Roran's not necessarily good with people. Like, there's kind of like, he's good with people, but not as like talkative as Aragon was, or like really connecting with people. But he also spent most of his life on the outskirts of town, very aware from people. He can't write, he can't read, and again, not a knock on him, but I'm like, the word countenance.
it's just so unusual. Is what
Yeah,
it really is.
yeah.
It's not even that's a long word.
Yeah.
It's just an unusual. Word. Where would he
unusual-
even encountered it?
Yeah.
Where would he even encountered it?
Yeah, exactly. And then
No, don't laugh at that. That wasn't funny.
No. But like, not only heard that word, but also kept it, like retained it.
I don't know. He could have
Yeah.
heard someone. I also totally believe Roran heard the word. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Put it in his verse. That's fine. I'm not saying he wouldn't do it.
Oh
It just
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
seems
It's
like
just
out
interesting.
of place.
Yeah, a little bit.
But Roran is so
Yeah,
angry.
he almost steps out like twice, I think.
Yeah. It mattered not that he would die, as long as it would wash clean his pain and sorrow in one fell moment. All he had to do was break Caliber. The rest would take care of itself. Just one small step. Oh, we've touched on his grief, his pain,
Yes.
the loss, but like this willingness to die to escape it.
Yeah.
I think demonstrates really the depth that Roran is suffering
Yes.
right now. He doesn't want to hurt himself.
Yep.
But he, when faced with this opportunity to at least let his anger out,
Yep.
knowing the cost will be, hey, at least it'll be done,
Yep.
is severely tempting enough, especially when it would only mean just stepping out of hiding.
Yep.
But then I also like this next line. With a choked sob, he clenched his fist and dropped his head. I can't leave Katrina. I also really like that. The demonstration of the bonds that survive after loss, the bonds we still have after suffering, can be the thing that help us hold on even when it could seem tempting to let go.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Baldur was there. Like if Roran had been by himself,
he would have done it because
no one would have been there to urge him to even think more for a second.
Or pull him back, because the first time he literally was about to step in and Baldur caught his arm and pulled him back.
Yeah. So like having these other connections. But yeah, the what this communicates is physically having Baldur there, his friend with him, and his love for Katrina, reminding him that there is something more than the pain.
Yep.
I like that a lot.
I agree.
And then,
but then they end up running back. I was like thinking like with the a title called The Hunted Hunters. I thought they were gonna get hunted through the woods.
Chase,
yeah, but they don't. So which is like, I'm like, all right, that's actually that works best for them. Because they're not getting that added suspension of them being hunted in the woods. While they return to the village and having to try to make that, because I didn't want Baldur to die. I'm like, please don't die. And
I know. I was really
like, oh no, if they get chased in the wood, he's gonna die, and I'm gonna be really upset about it. Because Rowan's got to continue. We just got to his perspective. There's no way they're gonna just
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it as being very effective.
Oh, absolutely.
If that was the kind of narrative that Pauline was writing, like skipping to someone else's point of view for only 2 chapters, just in time for us to see them gone, would be profoundly impactful.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what happens. That's not what happens.
Here. But yeah, they end up running back to their home. They kind of come up with a plan where Baldur's gonna go and warn all the villagers, and then he's gonna go straight to Horse. And then he ends up, Horse like, take my mare, you got to get out of here. And so Rowan. I know, I did it too. Rowan ends up just going to go camp very close to the spine, which nobody likes.
No one likes.
No one likes that.
Goes to the spine.
Yeah. And then he just camps. What I like is like they were hunting, so it's kind of suspenseful. They see the soldiers. I was almost said guards. They see the soldiers. Then there's like high tension, getting back to the village, grabbing the stuff, leaving, and then he's up in the mountains. And then there's nothing, and so
and just the stillness in the wind.
Yeah, he goes.
He sees
what
the soldiers
happens
enter
now?
The village.
Yep, that's true. He sees the soldiers come up to the gate, and they just kind of like have this like standoff, and then the soldiers go in.
I don't think there's a gate
or whatever they is.
A group of villagers like meet them at the end. Some ragged men.
That's it.
A ragged group of men, some with picks in their hands. They just stop them at the edge of town.
Okay, yeah.
Because listen, Carver Hall's not nice enough to have a gate.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, then Roran's just like, what happens now? Wondered Roran, rocking back on his heels. And then he sees them set up camp in an adjacent field to the village. And then he starts like, he's just in his own thoughts, thinking about like, why are they back? Like, was the stone that wasn't it destroyed? Unless maybe Aragorn took it with him, and that's what's happening. And us are like, he has no idea that is a dragon, and that is why this is happening.
That the stone doesn't even exist anymore.
Yes,
and he's like,
and then like the closest he gets to it is maybe it's magic, and it's like, oh boy, you have no idea.
yeah. He's like, and I also like he thinks like, wait, if it's that important, like. Maybe that's why Aragorn left. Maybe he thought he needed to protect it. He's like, that seems pretty far-fetched.
Yeah.
But it's
exactly what happened.
Like, basically, yeah. But he waits, and then Horse, other son, Albrecht, shows up with supplies. He gives him the update. They're definitely here for you. We don't know why. It's just on the orders of the king.
Yep.
We told them that you're hunting.
Yeah.
But they're willing to wait until you
come back. Yep.
He's like, I bought you plenty of food and blankets, plus some of Gertrude's salves in case you injure yourself. Summoning his energy or a shrug. And I highlighted that line because no, they won't. not anyone wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
What Horst and Balder and Albrecht and Horst's wife, what is her name?
I literally almost said it and then it vanished.
Elaine, yeah. Like
Yeah.
this family that takes him in, and then especially at this point, like bring him supplies, like
Yeah.
keeping him hidden. Like Albrecht, the embarrassed shrug when Roran thanks him, because he legitimately is someone who's like, well, anyone would do this. Like he's embarrassed because like you don't need to thank me for that. Like, but people who will do that do genuinely not realize that that's not true.
That's
not everyone will.
Absolutely.
And I highlighted that because I liked the interaction.
Yep.
But then he says, by the way, the two strangers, they're called the Raach.
I like how it's described as, then he tossed over his shoulder. By the way.
Yeah,
and I
weird.
like that. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I like
it's a great chapter ending.
Yeah.
It's a really bizarre goodbye line.
Yeah. It's
for us.
Yeah, it's for us.
It's for us, and then for Roran's internal monologue to no longer have to describe them as the strangers. We can just call them the Raach now.
I like it a lot.
We're gonna hang out with Roran this book.
Yes, I'm
that's
so
gonna
excited.
be so fun.
And that's something that just kind of like touching base on just the point of view shift. It is such. I read a lot of like young adult kind of fantasy books, and where the perspective shifts is a lot, and like romance books too, like Nora Roberts, the Irish one I was talking about. It shifts perspective a lot as well. And
my draft shifts perspective.
Yeah, and I'm like, I think it's really interesting because like. I feel like the Inheritance Cycle books were maybe one of the first that did that. Because, like, how interesting would it have been if Twilight did that? You know?
I mean, way more.
Yeah, way more
That's
interesting.
That's the kind of book, the Cassandra Clare, the Shadowhunters books.
Yeah.
The first couple are only in one character's POV.
Yeah.
But as we get into them later, it starts to shift into other characters' point of views. And I love that, and I love for Cassandra Clare, she's been asked like how do you decide what character's POV is going to be for what scene, and her response is like, whatever character is most impacted by what is happening in that scene is the head you should be in for it. Because I think she finds that's most interesting for the readers, and I agree. So my book is my draft is following. I guess here's a little like geode for the end of the episode. I've gotten a lot of writing done recently. I'm really barreling to like having it completed draft, like hitting that climax, finishing it. And all of a sudden I started entering characters, because it's been circling through the three main characters through the whole book. Yeah. And then right at the end, I've suddenly been into three other characters' heads for the first time. It's characters we've seen multiple times throughout the narrative, but it's the first time we've been in their heads. And it was really freeing. It helped me get through these next parts. And I also think it's also introducing like things are starting to become a little bit more chaotic, a little bit more stressful as things start to break bad. Yeah. And so suddenly bouncing around, I think hopefully it will mechanically create a sense of acceleration in the reader that the characters are also starting to experience. But yeah, I'm a big fan of a multiple POV one, and then it's also fun to write because then you have to really be like, no, we're in this character's head, so even though I know what's going on over there, this character doesn't, and I need to make sure I'm staying here. Yes, absolutely. I was just gonna say it's become such an integral part, I feel, of like these different genres in today's world that it's, I don't know, it's really cool. Because like reading it now, I get so excited. Yeah. Not like every time there's a point of view shift, I'm like, yes. Now I get to spend time in this head for a while, and then we go back to the main character, and ooh, isn't that exciting? And then like I'd like to have favorites. So like in Eldest, Rowan's my favorite perspective. I am very excited to stay with him. It's gonna be good. Yeah. And so I think that kind of makes for our good writing takeaway, and also homework prompt. Yeah. Take home essay. I still don't know what it's called. Yeah. I think it's called the question of the week on Instagram. But for the writing takeaway is, we can touch on like if you're going to shift, like kind of bouncing off of what you said, if you're going to shift perspectives in your own book, novel, whatever it may be, make sure you have to pull yourself back where like these characters don't know what the main character knows. If like in Rowan's perspective, is Rowan was still referring it to as a stone. He can't suddenly be like, oh, the egg, because he has literally no idea. Yeah. And like what you were saying is like if in the same situation where like these characters know about it but this character wouldn't, having to like remind yourself like, hey, do this. Because I think the Rowan's shift perspective is like
he does not resemble Aragon. He doesn't feel like Aragon. Palini does a very good job separating these two characters. So maybe the writing takeaway is, if you're going to do that, make sure to like really get in your new character's head. And like there's similarities because it's maybe the same book, but they're different people, and two people aren't the same person. Maybe something like that.
Practice, if you're when handling multiple POVs, practice having a strongly defined inner narrator.
Yeah, I like that.
Because even if like the narrator is not Aragon, it's not Roran, it is some omniscient third person limited.
Yeah,
that third person limited is still looking through the eyes of these characters in the way this is written.
Yes,
and so it should feel different when they're describing what Roran sees versus describing the way Aragon sees.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely practice crafting distinct narratives when handling multiple POVs.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then for our question of the episode, do you have a favorite or least favorite POV in, I'm going to say, like, I guess specifically a novel? I mean, it feels, you can have them in movies and stuff too, but it feels, video games, it feels a little different when you're just jumping to a different, like, character in a scene or a different character in a game.
Yeah.
Versus being in a different character's head.
Yeah.
But Luce, do you have a favorite in a multiple POV? Go on.
I have a favorite and not favorite.
Excellent, me too.
So my favorite is the Six of Crow books.
Yeah.
No, I love Kaz, specifically Kaz and Inej. Those are my favorite characters, and I love when the perspective shifts between them, especially Inej. I love Inej. She's so good. Also, I listen to the audiobook, and I love Inej's voice narrator. Nice. I actually like her so much. I actually just clicked on because on Audible you can select the narrator and see the different books she's narrated, and I like found more book series because of that.
That's really cool. Wow, what a great performer.
Yeah, so there's like I've done that with like the entire cast of Six of Crows because I love all of their voice actors so much. I literally just click on their names and then go find other books that they've narrated, and it gets me into like new series and stuff.
That's
very
so fun.
Cool. Yeah. But I love the switching. You get a really good perspective of both of them. Like Inej's background with like her acrobatic background, you get really delve into that, and then of course Kaz and his trauma that he's dealt with and stuff like that. Really, really like it. The worst one I hate is the House of Night series.
Oh, whoa, Lucy, I wasn't prepared for House of Night.
I think that's what that's called.
No,
Zoe.
You're right. It is exactly with Zoe
all
Nightshade.
Yeah, or
Zoe something.
Zoe
bird.
something.
Zoe Redbird.
Zoe Redbird. It might be Zoe Redbird because she wanted her grandmother's last name and not her mother's last name or something.
Yeah, her grandmother is her family has ties to the Cherokee indigenous tribe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't
read those.
Don't read those.
I mean, if you want to, fine.
Yeah. They literally, the only character that I literally considered in the last book I read, flipping through and just reading, I can't remember his name. It's all characters are not great. It's the Birdman.
I liked the Birdman.
The Birdman.
I liked the Birdman.
He was the only character, him and Stevie Ray.
Yeah,
they were like the only two characters.
Anything interesting going on in the end.
I was literally like, I want to read those two chapters and ignore the rest. Like, it was only those two characters that captivated my attention long enough for me to enjoy the book I was reading. But it was, terrible book.
And they're kids.
Yeah.
But it's like, they're so whiny and annoying.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not. Zoe is a Mary Sue, 1000% a Mary Sue. Yeah. She's perfect in every way, cannot do no wrong.
Yeah.
And
like,
it's not great.
It's not
like
great.
I think the perspective shifting in those books do differentiate the characters.
Yeah,
like they do have their each own perspective. Rephaim. It was something like that.
Yeah, it's the Bird
but it was
man.
like out
boy.
Of all of them, I found Rephaim and Stevie Ray the most captivating and the most interesting. Like, yeah.
I didn't finish the series. I ended up just reading the synopsis on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Because, like, well, how does that end? Not great. Like, even gets, like, weirder. And it's full of a lot of, like, what feels like rookie white author mistakes.
Yeah.
That you would have seen a lot in the 80s and 90s. And just feel egregious for someone to have been doing for so long.
Yeah.
And, like, despite a lot of feedback addressing, like, every character who is not white, you describe their skin as looking like food, or, like, them as being, like, exotic, foreign queens. Which is, like, you think that's a compliment.
Yeah.
But it's really, like, othering.
Yeah.
And you do it over and over again.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's
not a good. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
I remember that. It was weird.
Not good. So that was like my favorite, Six of Crows. My least favorite, The House of Night books.
Yeah. Absolutely. We jumped into House of Night a lot. I feel like I should just go with House of Night. The thing that came to my mind was actually Rick Riordan's Heroes of Olympus books.
Okay. I don't think I've read those
POV.
ones. Yeah.
And it's not that I dislike being in other characters' POV. I just feel like by the end of the series, the rigid structured nature of we are going through certain characters' POV in an order, and they all have a certain amount of chapters. And by the end of this chapter, whatever problem they're solving will be resolved. So it makes things feel like they get resolved way quicker than they should have at some points in times. Because we aren't going to go back to this character's POV for a long time, which means we aren't going to visit with this. And the pacing feels really wonky.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times when he decided we weren't going to be in a certain POV character's narrative for a book. And then so we don't actually get to see that character's like resolution of his arc that was introduced in his first book when this character is introduced. It just happens off page and we hear another character remarking on it because we're in her POV and not his.
Oh,
and that's just weird. So yeah, the biggest offender for this one is the Blood of Olympus book.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the one where it's like the characters we picked for the POVs are a little odd, and I feel like we're just really refined. We're not hearing from certain characters who are like going through really big stuff. But flip side, half of that book is my favorite Heroes of Olympus book because half of those POVs are through Nico and Reina's perspective.
Okay.
And their stuff beats ass.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I tell people it's half of it's my favorite and the first half or second half, and it's not like that. It's every other pitch because they'll alternate. But yeah, I feel like that is the flip side of where I think a POV could go wrong is when it is suddenly too structured, too rigid.
Yeah.
Where like a big one is like Leo's experience. Spoilers for not Mark of Athena, House of Hades. Leo spends time on Calypso's island, and so I really like Leo and Calypso's relationship as characters in that book.
Yeah.
But it feels very quick because in 4 chapters it's resolved and Leo's gone because we don't just leave Leo and go hang out with someone else and then come back and then get to, as a reader, feel like a bunch of time passed that we weren't there for. Like, it's very hesitant to let that happen.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the reason that one doesn't work for me personally is because I feel like it was too structured.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, for me, I like it when it's like a little bit more free flowing of who and when we're going to be with a character.
Yeah.
Rather than like a strict rules and predictability.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. I can see how that can be really jarring.
Okay, so before we wrap up, we got a couple big shout outs.
Ooh, yes.
Absolutely huge shout outs to not one, but 2 new members of the Dragon's Keep.
Yes,
they're joining
welcome.
the Horde. We are welcoming Kiki and Shaman Nomo.
Yes.
Y'all, thank you
so
much. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like, you joined just in time. You joined just in time to hear us talk about a truly boring movie.
Yeah.
A truly boring dragon movie. So I hope
it's a great, boring movie.
We also talk about tons of other things. Dragonology, Dragons of Fantasy Made Real, Dragon Spell.
Yes.
The Reluctant Dragon.
Yes.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes. I still think of Dragonflight and McCaffrey's.
Dragonflight.
I still think of that very fondly. Our very first episode. I still just like,
so
that
fun.
was a good read.
We've been doing Dragon Keep. We've been doing bonus episodes for over a year now.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Which means there are 12 bonus episodes for our members of the Dragon Keep over there. They also have access to, so those are for the paid members, but also you can join for free and get access to all of our outtakes. Most of our outtakes are going to be either us getting into a spoilery conversation.
Yes.
So those are there on the Instagram and also, not Instagram, those are on the Patreon and also marked as a spoiler one.
Yeah.
But it's also combined with pet shenanigans.
Yes.
Or tangents that went on maybe a little bit too long for the flow of the episode. For example, if you want to hear us really rip into the House of Night series, you're going to want to jump over on Patreon, just join for free, and you're going to get access to that. And then if you want to hear us talk about the movie that was boring, or lots of movies that were really great.
Or my fun outro.
Or Lucy's fun outro. Did you know Lucy tries to sing the outro almost every episode?
I do.
She sure
I
does.
Can't stop.
But Kiki, Shamanomo, thank you so much for your support.
Yes, thank you.
Lucy.
It's always so fun to see a new coin added to our
coin added. I was gonna say it's really fun to wake up and see that I've got a push notification from Patreon and open it up and find out it's like, hey, someone likes this thing you do for free enough to want to give you money to support it and get more of it as a thank you for helping you do more.
Yes, absolutely.
The support from Patreon is the reason we have this new cover art we were so excited about for both feeds.
Yep.
The reason we actually have stickers now.
Yes.
Which we are going to mail to patrons. Like, that is a perk that patrons get. They get a customized thank you card as well as a free sticker.
Yes.
I got to go tweak some stuff to figure out to get some mailing addresses to send them to folks. But those are really cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And even if you are not in a space where you can give monetarily, just thank you also for listening to the show, for spending your time, for investing your time in us, and also for leaving comments.
Yes.
Like, I've got a lot. Let's shout out. A ton of them are from Kiki, who binged the whole thing.
That's so
thank
cool.
Thank you so much. We're not going to get through all of their comments, but we're going to get through them all over the next few episodes.
Yes, absolutely.
But just jumping in and shouting out a few of them, because they're all speaking of like things that are fun to see. It's fun to see that we got a comment on Spotify. It's fun to hop on Instagram and see that someone has really liked the show.
Yep.
So
it's really inspiring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
y'all are our sparks of inspiration.
Sparks of inspiration. So just a couple. This first one, actually, I think this was the first time Kiki reached out to us and they sent us the message on Instagram. Hi guys, just wanted to reach out and thank you for your podcast. As an aspiring writer who has learned that I unintentionally stole from Paolini's style a lot due to his influence when I was a teen, your podcast has been incredible to listen to.
Awesome.
It's helped me uncover a lot of things I need to work on in my own writing and ways I can get better. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Yeah, that's cool. The writing aspect of it was a thing I wanted to introduce to aim to help our show stand out.
Yes.
And provide our listeners with something beyond commentary. Not to say that shows that just discuss and analyze are less than.
Oh, no, not at all.
But I wanted to look for ways that ours could be different.
Yes.
But also, I feel like that's just something you and I do naturally.
We do.
When we talk about things that we like.
Yes.
We end up really seeking why we like them, how we can learn from them.
Yes. I also think, like, just with us doing this naturally, it's like, I think both of us really enjoy, like, talking about, like, why an author might have written it in this certain way, or why characters from a movie react a certain way, and, like, what the impact of that is of, like, the show, the plot, and how it all ties together. And, like, for me, it's like, I really enjoy, like, guessing a character's motive or something like that. And so being able to do, like, it just comes naturally. Being able to do this with the Aragon books, it just comes so naturally of, like, diving in and dissecting it and being like, this is what makes this book so good, kind of thing.
And we've gotten a couple of folks who've remarked they've listened to the podcast for the writing stuff. Like, Elliot from the Demigod Pod, when they were on Muses a while back, they mentioned specifically, like, to me verbally, that's why I really like Aragon. And I was like, ugh. So y'all, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
We got one, obviously, from Curtis Moore.
Yes, Curtis.
The magical, mysterious stone of our hearts.
Yes.
After our first episode of the season. So glad you're back.
Yay.
The most recent opening chapter that really hammered me was the first chapter of God Killer by Hannah Canner. The cover has a picture of a cute jackalope kind of animal on it, and then the first chapter opens on a brutal religious conflict where the main character loses her whole family.
Oh, man.
It sets the tone of the whole book really well and made me want to read the whole thing in one sitting.
Oh.
High praise.
Yes.
High praise. Someone's like, I can't stop. I gotta know what happens next.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Got comment from Ali Rask Cohen, and I definitely probably tripped all over your name, and I'm so sorry, Allie.
Yeah.
Eldest, the opening chapter that broke my little heart. Crying
emoji.
Yep. Single tear.
Yep, absolutely. For sure.
I've got two more that I want to shout out for this episode.
Yes.
Got one from Lotta Fry. Hi, found your podcast a few days ago through a Reddit post. I read Aragon as a child. It's still one of my favorite fantasy series I've read so far, and I love listening to you talk about it.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shout out to friend of the show and many times Spark of Inspiration Dalton, he is the one that made that Reddit post. And I was first like, Dalton, you can't just talk about us on Reddit like that. We're two queer women talking about a fantasy series written by a man. But it was lovely seeing a lot of our being like, hi, I found you there and I love it. And I'm like, okay, maybe sometimes I view the internet as being, I approach it as being a little bit more suspicious than maybe I should. So thank you.
The internet is a very scary place.
The internet exists.
Yep.
And then one from good buddy Owen.
Yay.
Not being able to do questions. And Owen left this comment on Spotify, so context.
Yes.
Not being able to do questions down here is annoying. Anyway, an answer for the shocking start to me was Young Justice Season 3. Did not see a time skip coming.
Ooh.
I love a time skip opening.
Yeah.
Like, I really love walking into a series and being like, okay, I know where we left off, and suddenly finding that I don't have any idea where we're at, what anyone's status is, like, what's going on. Like, I'm just completely knocked off my feet and have to, like, figure it out again. Like, that's so fun.
Yep.
Again, for our folks who've joined us in the Dragon Keep, that's incredible.
Yes,
thank you so much. Like, it helps the show be a thing that we can sustainably make.
Yeah.
But again, for folks, not everyone who can give monetary.
Yes.
Especially right now. Eggs are $8.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Bringing the eggs
so
in.
The fact that we can be something that you invite into your day and spend time with us is an incredible gift. We love hearing from you. Like, those are ways that you are also supporting the pod.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Thank you to everyone.
Yes.
We're so, again, glad to be back for the season.
Yes, super excited.
So glad to be here with Roran.
Yes,
like,
so excited for Roran.
It's going to be great. And until next time, she's Lucy Hart.
And she's Darien Smartt.
And this is Aragon.
And back again.
Do you get it?
Da-da. You get it?
You get it?